Hey, what's up guys? So I'm finally here to give you guys a impressions of last Epoch after the new update and basically answer a lot of questions that you guys had. So first off, right off the bat, the question is this game free and how can I get it? It's available on Steam. It does cost money. It's set right now at $35. But the game is still currently in beta, so keep in mind there might be some bugs and some of the things might be not fully implemented in yet, but I think there is definitely a few hours of good fun right now in this beta, because I know a lot of you guys maybe follow me for Diablo, maybe Path of Exile, and you just kind of want to check out a newer isometric action RPG. So anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So keep in mind, not everything is implemented in yet. There is still one class that needs to be added into the game, and every class has like an advanced class or a subclass or an awakening, whatever you want to call it here. But anyways, at the moment we have several classes. We have the Acolyte, which can then become Warlock, Lich, or Necromancer. Warlock isn't implemented in it, that's why you don't see anything. But there's also a Ranger that will be coming out. There's also a Primalist, which will then become a Shaman, a Beastmaster, or a Druid. And I also want to mention, you're not locked to just going into one specific, like, advanced class. Technically, you can only put so many points into one category because, obviously, there's not going to be infinite stat points. But you can still kind of spec into more than one thing, for the most part. And I think that's a really cool idea. You also have Sentinel, which can be Forge Guard, Paladin, or Void Knight. And then we have Mage, which will be Spellblade, Sorcerer, or a Rune Master. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and hop into just earlier gameplay here so I can give you guys a brief little introduction to kind of how the game works and what's in the game. But this is basically within the first like 10 minutes. It's just the character has a few levels so I can kind of explain things a little bit better. So let's go ahead and just show off some gameplay, and then I'll explain all the game systems and basically tell you guys what's to come with this game. Because I actually had one of the guys that works on the game come into my live stream and he answered a bunch of the questions and it was really awesome. So let me go ahead and show you guys the game. So first off, we'll go ahead and summon a wolf here. This is one of my skills, and we can actually activate the skin again and skill again, and what it will do, it will create a howling effect to go ahead and boost us up. But we'll go ahead and summon another one. Now we have the howl over here. So now that we have activated it twice, we have the maximum number of wolves that we have as of right now. And so if I activate it again, you'll see that it will do a howl. We have this ability to go ahead and shoot ice thorns. We also have a little totem that we can summon, and then we have a leap attack. Again, this is within like the first like 10 minutes of the game. I'm here to just kind of show you guys what the game looks like in terms of its gameplay and its mechanics and kind of what has changed. So one thing that I really like, so these are new, these are shrines. These came with a newer update. There's also this, which is the best thing ever. So on your move, which normally people have it for left click, but I have mine bound to Q on my keyboard, you have move only, right? A lot of people always like to have move only on left mouse button. But when there's a destructible that's blocking their path or a door or something that just gets in the way, right? You actually have this thing where it's called move or break destructible, so you can go ahead and still break that destructible, which is really awesome because it's just frustrating to run into those situations where you have to activate a skill and you don't want it to go on cooldown just to like progress in the game. But as far as the game goes, there is quite a bit of depth in there. And what I mean quite a bit of depth, I mean every skill in this game, keep in mind this is a really low level character. There's a lot more skills to acquire. But how it works is every individual skill in this game has its own skill tree. So this is my summon wolf ability that I just showed you guys. And you can specialize to make it so the wolves will move faster, they'll do more damage. You can also make it so the howl will get an extra bonus, or you can get more copies of the wolf, or you can completely change it up. Some of the skills will be completely changed, and I'll show you guys that in a moment here when I swap to my mage. But it's not just plus damage or plus damage reduction to like a summon. There are things that will really change up how it kind of plays. You can kind of convert the element of the damage. So if you have items that are, let's say, more cold damage oriented and you want to use like ice thorns over here and you want to modify that, you can definitely do that as well because they allow you to kind of convert the damage type. So for example, you can get extra projectiles, but it'll cost more mana. You can make it so they travel faster and it has more range. This one is changing it to the base crit chance, and then you have critical multiplier. This one over here converts it from cold damage to physical damage. So you can see that you can basically modify the element of some skills to basically cater towards whatever you're trying to scale in the game. Whatever items that you get might completely change up the game as well. But for the most part, That's where this game has its selling point, is really just the customization in your skills. I mean, again, every single skill in this game has a skill tree. Now, I also want to mention, this character is a lower level, so as we progress and once we get higher level, we'll have more skills to specialize in. So at the moment, I only have the Fury Leap, which is our little jump attack, which is this. But here's what I've put a point into. I put a point into so it when you land, you and your minions deal more damage for 3 seconds. And this one is the only one that has any modifiers because it's the only one that I've specialized in. I don't have to specialize in the skill to have it equipped. I can equip skills that aren't specialized at all, but because I'm a very low level, I only can specialize into one. You get the first one at level 4, then 9, 19, 34, 49. But how it works as far as your skills go, because again, you don't even have to have it specialized into it to actually equip it. But the thing is, let's say I use a skill, I test it out, I put a bunch of points into it, I don't like it. I can go ahead and completely respec out of it. Now, I will have to re-level up the skill completely. Each skill has its own level as well, and you can completely despecialize and basically put it back to level 0. You will have to re-level it up if you don't want it. But let's say you put 1 point into something and you're like, yo, I really don't like this one, I want to take it out. I can respec and I can remove 1 point. I won't get that point back, but what it will do is it will change the skills level back to -1 because you will have to re-level it up. But as you progress in the game, it's much harder to level up a skill as time progresses because of the scaling, just like any game. Now, another thing that I need to mention that's quite important. Since I spec'd into, let's say, Warrior's Entrance over here, which gives me more damage when I land with my leap attack, this skill over here, Pack Leader, a lot of games, how skill trees work is you put 1 point over here, and then I can put 1 point over here. But that's not how it works in Last Epoch. How it works in Last Epoch is you have these connections. So I have to put 3 points into this to get this skill. So whatever it's pointing to, it requires me to have 3 points into this, or if I want to grab this, this requires 2 points as it is connected. So that's kind of how the skill tree works in the game. Now, moving on to the passives over here that you'll get as you level up as well. So you'll see that I put points over into Primal Strength. This will give me more strength as well as increased health regeneration, but I can select a few different passives over here as well. As I put points into this part of the tree for our passives, keep in mind, Primalist is our base class. Once we put in enough points, we will be able to unlock Beastmaster, Shaman, or Druid. Now, we'll get all of these. We can put points into it. We can put some points into Druid, some points into Shaman, some points into Beastmaster, but you can only technically go so far in the tree because there's only so many points that you'll allocate. And some of the skills that you'll acquire are also inside of the passives over here. So once we hit Primalist level 5, which is to put 5 points into Primalist, we'll then get Eterra's Blessing. So it'll heal a target over here. And then once we put in 10 points, we'll be able to unlock Summon Sabretooth. And then we'll also be able to get Millstorm once we're at level 15 with Primalist. That's where all these other skills come into play. So if I wanted to go ahead and be Beastmaster, I would have to put some points into it. And if I wanted to get Summon Bear, I'd have to put 5 points into this specific mastery over here. But there's also, you can see that there's a mastery bonus. So I believe how it works is you get just one of them can be like super advanced and you'll be able to unlock, let me see, this is a flanking strike over here. But basically you can't max out all of them is what I'm saying for like the bonus. You can see like this one plus 1 max companions. When your companions deal 50% increased melee damage. That would be, I believe that is locked behind just like selecting one of them. But you can still put points into the other sections of the trees, but I believe it's a limited amount. Anyways, so that's another depth level to this game, and you can see you can increase certain damage types, physical, different elements as well. And some of these skills will scale with strength. For example, Fury Leap does scale with strength. You have your standard like strength, dexterity, attunement, and vitality, but they do a little bit of different things. Sometimes they're just basically resistances that you'll be putting stat points into for the game. But that's basically what makes this game so unique and really cool. Now I want to go ahead and hop into a different character so I can go ahead and show you guys some more content here. So I'm going to go ahead and leave game, and I'm going to go ahead and select my mage, which is level 50 something, and my mage over here has a really cool unique, which will basically grant me energy shield. If any of you guys like Chaos Inoculation from Path of Exile, you'll see that my health is just draining. That is due to one of my unique armors here. which makes it so we lose health, but we gain 20% of our missing health as ward. Ward is the same as the energy shield in games, although it doesn't last forever. There's things where you can make it last longer, but basically it's temporary. In addition to that, you also have increased attack speed, cast speed, and movement speed, but there's a bottom part over here. The very last ability is immune to bleed at low health. So for any of you guys that like to run any build that would be like on low life, it does whatever. This could be something that it could be a good item for you to have. But I like the theory crafting as far as uniques go. There's also set items in the game. You can see this is a set item, and when we have 2 pieces over here, 80% increased necrotic damage if you have been hit recently, and with the 3-piece bonus, you have 30% mana efficiency with necrotic spells. So there are definitely really cool items in the game that will completely shape up a build. Again, this armor is one of those here. But I mentioned before that some of the skills can be completely changed. Like, for example, this skill over here, Volcanic Orb, it's normally a fire attack, but I've converted it to make it so it's a frozen orb. If any of you guys play Diablo 2, it's a really cool ability. Yeah, actually it's in Diablo 3 as well, but basically we've converted it to a frozen orb. There's a lot of skills that take a lot of inspiration from other action RPGs, like there's Whirlwind, there's things that you'll see that you'll feel at home if you like certain skills. But you see there's like Disintegrate, there's a lot of skills over here to mess around with. I'm not going to show up every single skill in this video, but you can see over here I have became a sorcerer over here. So you'll see that I'll have plus 50 mana, and then on top of that, spells deal increased damage equal to their mana cost as one of the bonuses here. But again, as I progress with the passive tree, I will also be unlocking extra skills. So again, even though it doesn't show up, like there's going to be more skills that we'll acquire, but we just have to spec into them. As far as this other thing over here, this is the idols. This is something completely new as well, where you're able to basically have charms. If you played Diablo 2, basically what a charm is an item that just gives you a free bonus by just having it in your inventory. Normally in like Diablo 2, you just have it equipped and it would just give you whatever stat. But if I put it inside my idol stash over here, this will give us the ability to have whatever stats that it gives us without doing anything. But I really like this system. I think it's really cool. And as you progress in the game, you'll get more space. Speaking of game progression, let's go ahead and show off the map over here. And keep in mind, things will, of course, be subject to change as it is currently in beta. But you can see basically how it works in this game as you travel through time. That's the storyline. But yeah, there's like the different areas that you can teleport to, because it's just like any other action RPG where you have waypoints and you can go ahead and access an area that you've already accessed. Now, I'm not sure if this is the exact same endgame as it is right now, because previously this was like the form of the endgame, which is maps. Basically, you go into an area and you can select whatever modifier that you want, and you'll get the bonus. So this one, enemies have a 25% chance to apply a mark for death on hit, but I get 5% increased item rarity and 10% increased experience gained. Or I can select this one over here, where it makes it so they'll do 25% increased damage, but I have 15% increased item rarity. I select whatever one that I want, and that's basically one form of the endgame content here. You also have your standard like guide to go ahead and RNG some items by spending gold. You also have your normal vendors that you can vend stuff with. But there's also a really cool crafting system. And let me go ahead and actually move my camera out of the way so I can go ahead and show you guys how that looks like. So at any point you can press whatever hotkey that you have for crafting. And you'll basically pick up these little things. If you want to think of it as essences, if you've played Path of Exile, which will give you whatever it applies to. Like this one gives you X amount of void protection, which is a type of damage in the game. Or if I want to get like dodge rating, block protection, block chance, glancing blow, which take half damage. You have all these things, all these little modifiers. So like you can see it says prefixes 1 available, and then suffix 0 available for the item. But if I want to go ahead and throw in a modifier over here, I can destroy the item, creating a random number of affix shards containing its power. So there is something on this that I really want, but I don't need this item, but I just want one of the affixes on the item. I can go ahead and try to smash it and maybe try to get some of those. So you have these other items that you can utilize to basically take some of the prefixes or whatever you want off the item. There's also support items. So let's say I wanted to craft the minion health on it, and there's certain tiers. You can see like what tier some things are over here. But it says 98% chance for success. So you got a little bit of RNG there. But if I put the scroll in here, 100% chance. Or if I throw this over here, It says modifies the outcome of a craft, reducing the instability it adds up to by 60%. So you can modify the item a little bit over here as well when you are crafting and get, I guess, better chances here. So there is a little bit of depth with the customizing as far as the items as well. So I really do think this game has a lot of potential, and just by looking over how it's received over on Steam over here, just to give you guys kind of an idea, because I think this is something important to see. It is at almost an 80%, 79% right now, because I know that like sometimes when people see a game in early access, you know, people like to have ideas about like, okay, how good is this game even in its early access state? I would say if you're interested in action RPGs, this game will definitely deliver on it. It doesn't feel like a, you know, an isometric MMO that's classified as an action RPG. Like it's very much like Diablo or Path of Exile. Like it has that depth that you'd want in a game. But again, everything's not completed. So I could say if you're okay with early access games, you can definitely spend 10 plus hours in here and have a little bit of fun until the game releases. Now, as far as the game goes, here's this really awesome page that they put out, which thank you for making this, by the way. They have this game set up as far as in phases, what they're completing. So right now we're in phase 2 for the game. Some of the stuff still needs to be fully implemented in, like all of the voice acting is not fully in at the moment for every NPC. But as far as the release date on this game, so right now it's set as early access for $35, but it is set to release in Q4 of this year, so this game will be coming out this year. So I'm definitely going to be looking out for this game because I've already paid for early access. This is not a sponsored video. I legitimately think that this game has a lot of potential here. But again, it's an early access state. So this is what they have. As far as the game goes, there's not really anything that's super important to mention here, like the debuff and buff UI. Like these are all just nice quality of life things. I really was looking forward to the stuff in phase 4 because this is what matters in a game. So they do plan to have multiplayer. By the way, there is no multiplayer currently at the moment. There will be a loot filter and there will be item trading in the game. So that's what I'm really more interested in because, you know, I care about these things a lot when it comes to an action RPG. I like trade in a game because if you get an item that you can't use because it's not for your class, you know, what's the point other than just vendoring it off, right? So they're going to be adding the rogue class in phase 3. Again, we're currently in phase 2, so right now it's like tooltip DPS because you really don't have that at the moment, and it would really be helpful. Again, that's the phase that they're on. A lot of the animations in this game will be rough, just as a heads up for some of the skills. Some of the skills, if you modify them, they will cause your graphics card to have artifacting. Again, the game is in beta, and it wasn't just me having this issue. Someone else came into my live stream and was saying, hey, when you use this skill, it was one of the flaming skulls on the Necromancer that would cause the game to basically artifact. It causes like a graphical error. But again, if you're okay with the early access game, I could recommend it. So to answer you guys' questions that maybe you played PoE or Diablo, it's nowhere near as complete as that. But as far as the bugs go, since we're talking about action RPGs, I haven't had the game come to the point where I get stuck in an invisible wall and have to reload the game. It's just more so that there's just some areas in the game that wouldn't have like the voice acting or whatever the case may be. But it still definitely feels like it's got a lot more potential later down the line, obviously when they add all of those things. But in phase 3 they're going to be adding the rogue class, so I'm really interested in seeing where that goes. There's also going to be dual wielding coming out into the game because right now you can't dual wield, but for the most part, again, there is a lot of fun to be had with this game. Here's some of the other skills in the game. If you want to play Summoner class, I'll show off my Necromancer skills real quick. Every class has a mobility option. If you want to play like a Whirlwind or a Cyclone build, basically where you spin, that's an option as well. There's so many options in this game at the moment that would make you feel at home if you've played other action RPGs. So like for example, I can summon a bunch of minions over here, and then we've also got this ability to summon a bunch of spirits. We have a teleport, which is like it's called transplant. It's basically kind of like a blood rush ability. Like I said, a lot of the abilities are similar. We got like a bone armor also that our guys can cast over here on everyone, including ourselves. But there's a lot of really cool things in this game, and I'm more so interested in seeing what else this game has to offer. But I have not reached what I would consider endgame on every single class. But a lot of people also ask, what's the best class to start out with? I had a lot of fun with the Primalist, being able to summon a bunch of minions and do damage myself, and I really like their mobility ability as well. And they're pretty friendly to start off with, I would say, because some of the classes, like for example, the let's go back to the main login screen, and the the Sentinel has a kind of a rough start, especially with energy management. If you want to start off with just whirlwinding, yeah, it takes some time to be able to put the amount of points into it. But like I said, I think the game, it's cool. So overall, to answer your guys' question, if the game is worth it, if you're okay with seeing some of the game's rough edges, it's definitely something I could recommend. I don't think that you can put hundreds or thousands of hours into the game right now for an average player, because there's just not enough content here. But I will be covering this game as well once they have some more updates. Which I think will be quite nice. The biggest really nice update that they added was the game's visuals overhaul. The game looks a lot better than I played like a year or two ago when I first bought the early access. But anyways, guys, that's Last Epoch. You guys can let me know what you thought of it down below. And also I include via their forum over here, like this page over here, just in case any of you guys want to see every single thing over here. But there are, again, things that will be coming out later down the line, and I'll be covering it as well. So if you guys are new here and you want to be up to date with Last Epoch, I'll be covering it once there's newer updates, and I'll get towards the end game and I'll kind of showcase off some builds maybe as well later down the line. So if you do want to see that and you're new here, hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and you'll see it very soon. But if you guys want me to cover anything on the game, or if you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comment section below, because I live stream this game. I've been live streaming it like a couple hours every day over my live stream, and I want to see what the end game kind of looks like, and I want to kind of test out the builds. I always have a lot of fun when action RPGs like first come out, and there's just a bunch of stuff to go ahead and test out. But I'm looking forward to getting that Ranger class, because that's something I really want to play. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.